All right, guys, just want to welcome back to the Everything College Football Podcast. Today, we'll be doing a preview and prediction for a top 10 matchup in the Big 12 between Texas Tech and BYU. Red Raiders 10.5 point favorites, 53.5 is the total. 12 p.m. Eastern time on ABC from Lubbock. Getting things started with the BYU offense on this Tech defense. It's been a really good year for the Cougars. It's been a really resilient offense that at times this year has had to play from behind. They've also played some tough defenses as well. And, despite having a true freshman quarterback who really got forced into action unexpectedly kind of late in the year, or really late in the offseason, that is, has played quite solid football, completed about 63%, only 3 interceptions and 11 touchdowns, has shown the ability to throw it accurately downfield to what is a very good receiving tandem in Chase Roberts and Parker Kingston. Those two guys both have 30-plus receptions along with 500-plus yards altogether and 8 total touchdowns. So these guys have very similar production. They've been nice downfield targets. They're also both very good when it comes to making plays after the catch. Roberts at 6'4", 210's a better target in the red zone. Nice physical weapon that they have there. Carson Ryan at tight end's not a bad pass catcher as well. But it's really those three guys that get targets. Nobody else is really stepping up a whole lot. A couple of other guys will get sporadic targets here and there. But it's really a three-man show. Really, this is a team that's led by its ground game. L.J. Morton, 789 and 5 scores. The aforementioned Bear Bachmer, 408 and 9 touchdowns. His ability to run the football has been so good for this team. He's 6'2", 230 pounds, and his size allows him to really just fall forward and be a physical specimen, not just in short yardage, but really anywhere on the plane. Early on downs, they'll call QB powers, QB draws, and he'll be able to be great for this team. You've seen it in the Arizona game against Colorado as well, where they called a lot of QB runs, and that benefited the team significantly. His best performances on the year were in those two games where they were playing from behind. So he's come up big for him this year. It's been really good to see. It's a very splendid offense overall for BYU because they do have some pretty good balance. In the run game is going to be the identity for this football team, 216 yards per game. Biggest problems are going up against the top-ranked run defense in the country, and they're no joke. This is a defensive line. They went portal shopping in the offseason. They picked up a tremendous amount of guys. They returned a couple of players from last year's team on the defensive line. But really, this is transfer heavy. Romello Height and David Bailey, two of the top edge rushers in the country. Lee Hunter and Skylar Gale Howard make up some of those other transfers. Guys like Jaden Cofield, A.J. Holmes, Amari and Banks, though, are returnees. Charles Esters, when he's gotten on the field, has been solid. So, I mean, this is a very good defensive line, incredibly physical, very deep, very nasty. Alongside them, or behind them rather, is great linebackers and Jacob Rodriguez. He's been by far the best run defender in the country so far this year. He's been great in coverage as well. I mean, this has just been a splendid group altogether. And alongside him, of course, is Ben Roberts, two veteran linebackers. This was, two starters that returned from last year's defense that wasn't very good, but those guys were heavy playmakers, and they've been that way so far this year. But again, this is a run defense that just gave up a season high, 126 yards rushing. Man, that's the season high, really. And Avery Johnson had a nice QB run that allowed that number to be, significant this high. So realistically, it's just another game where they just continue to shut down running backs. I think the biggest example we have is that they played Utah, one of the top rushing attacks in the country, a great offensive line, stonewalled them, held them in check. QB run could do nothing, couldn't get anything toward the boundary. In between the tackles, of course, was shut down. I mean, it's just going to be very tough for BYU to run the football in this game. So it's going to really come down to this offensive line out muscling Tech, and they're going to have to throw the football as well. I think they're really good off play action. Bear's been solid standing back in the pocket. Left tackle Isaiah Jatta is looking to prove a point. At center, you have a veteran of Bruce Mitchell is having a great year. And over at right tackle, a respectable player at Andrew Gentry. So, I mean, these guys can certainly come into this game and put up a nice effort because they've been incredibly physical this year against this D-line. I think they're just going to force them to be one-dimensional, and that means they're going to have to throw the football and hopefully get into favorable short yardage situations where the quarterback power can be utilized, because it is a great part of this offense where his size can be utilized, and that's going to be great for them. But in terms of manufacturing consistent drives on the ground, it's just not going to happen most likely. Moving to the other side of things, the Tech offense on that BYU defense for the Red Raiders. Baron Morton coming back from injury. He was pretty good against Kansas State, had an interception on that screen, but other than that, he had some nice accurate throws downfield, 249 and 2 passing touchdowns. This is a guy that's shown the ability to, be very accurate when it comes to throwing the football downfield. I know at times he's been very inconsistent. Early on in the Utah game, he wasn't very good. And then he got hurt against Kansas as well, where it was a bit of a tougher performance. But when he's able to play a full 4 quarters and he's healthy, this is a guy that's typically been very on point. I mean, he was great last year for this team as a veteran. I think the jury potentially still out if he can play big boy football, like if they're going to be in the CFP and play against the SEC. How would he do? I think he'll do quite well because he just runs this offense so well, and he has a very good accuracy downfield, and he has nice power and arm strength to be able to force the ball into tight windows to some of his phenomenal pass catchers, like Caleb Douglas, one of the best players in the country at his position, leads the team with 594 yards and 4 touchdowns receiving. Coy Aiken alongside him, along with Reggie Virgil. These guys all command a bunch of targets. Terrence Carter as well. You got 4 different pass catchers averaging 47 or more yards per game, so they dish it around a good bit. These running backs have been highly impressive as well in the past game. Jacoby Williams, Cameron Dickey, a combined 437 receiving yards on about 40 receptions. So that's very good, right? You got 6 guys that are really commanding a lot of targets in the pass game. The run game this year, it's been pretty impressive. Taj Brooks was always great for this team for a number of years, but in terms of overall explosiveness as a team and yards per game, those numbers have shot up this year. Those aforementioned guys, Dickey and Williams. Dickey, the sophomore, 10 touchdowns, 746 yards. He's been really explosive. Williams has as well. I mean, these guys are relatively bigger backs, especially Dickey at 210 pounds, and he's showcased some nice speed and elusiveness. The run blocking was great against Kansas State. It's been like that most of the year for them to be able to spring some big plays. Bit of an inconsistent unit. Like left guard Will Jados has been underperforming a little bit. The rest of the group, though, has been pretty good. Jacob Ponton at right tackle and the left tackle, Howard Sampson. These guys are tremendous. Davion Carter at right guard is elite. And then Sheridan Wilson at center, one of the best at his position in the country when it comes to pass blocking. Going up against a BYU team that doesn't have that great of a pass rush, only 17 sacks on the year. Most of them come from the linebackers. Jake Kelly, Isaiah Glasker, these guys do a lot of damage when it comes downhill and making plays for this football team. They've just been very weak on the defensive front for a couple of years. I mean, they have tough physical guys that have plenty of size, but in terms of overall skill and pass rush assets, that just doesn't exist. Tyler Beatty was a great player for them for a couple of years, and even then wasn't able to free up a whole lot for some of these guys to do work. But it's a respectable defensive line for BYU. But once again, the linebackers are going to dictate how this game goes. Isaiah Glasker is one of the best in the country, I think, in his position. Hasn't had the greatest of seasons. He's been a little bit more iffy when it comes to tackling and run defense, but his pass rushing acumen has definitely taken a step up, and I think that's great for this team. And same with Kelly. This guy has, third most tackles on the team, along with 8 tackles for loss and 5 sacks. Those both lead the team. So it's a great linebacking group. I think the secondary, it's a group that has a lot of ball hawking potential in terms of individual talents to match up. How well will they do, I think, remains to be seen. But they do have 12 interceptions this year. We've seen that last year. They had a pick in every single game. They were able to snag 22 of them last year, and they continue to do it this season. They're just great at forcing turnovers. They give up some big plays every here and there. They give up some, plenty of yards at times. But, I mean, nobody that's really been able to tee off on them. Iowa State was playing from behind. Utah, with their balance, was able to do well because they have really struggled to defend the run this year. I think that's BYU's biggest weakness, right, is their ability against the runner is not very good. 150-plus yards allowed in 5 straight games. This is a team that has, a bit of a run-heavy approach if they want to, and they'll be successful doing it. So I think for BYU, this defense is going to have to continue to come up with those turnovers. They're going to have to jam those holes, and they're going to have to be able to slow this run game down against Texas Tech. If they can start running the ball and start utilizing some tempo, they're going to start airing it out, and they're going to be finding those big plays downfield. I think this is a good defense overall, though. I think in the secondary, you got guys like Tanner Wall, tremendous safety. He's second on the team in tackles. Evan Johnson, a nice corner. Therian Alexander as well. These guys have played very good this season. They're going to have those tough matchups on the boundary that we alluded to. Looking at the final thoughts and the prediction in this game, BYU's not the only team that's good at forcing turnovers. Texas Tech last week, they came away with 5 takeaways. This is a team that's 20 on the year. 10 picks, 10 fumbles right down the middle. I mean, they're able to pretty much give them in every single game. The only one they didn't record one in was the loss at Arizona State. So it dictates a lot for this team, and with their ability to come off the edge with some heat and their improved ability downfield with its secondary to make plays and come up with some interceptions and just be more tight-knit in coverage this year has just been beneficial to them. This offense is going to make you pay. Very impressive team overall for Texas Tech. They're doing damage with the guys they got in the portal. They're utilizing them, big time. And I think for Texas Tech, you're going to see them really shut down that BYU run game. It's going to put Bear in some tough spots to throw the football. I don't know if this passing attack is really built to throw it 40 times, and I think that's what you're going to have to do here for BYU. You're going to have to get these short fields. You're going to have to run the ball well in short yardage. Yardage, that is. And I think BYU is certainly capable of doing that, but I think this Tech team is just a different animal. I think Morton coming back is going to give this passing attack that boost that it was missing for a couple of weeks, and their defense is going to continue to make plays, and they're going to come away with a double-digit victory here. I think BYU is great. They're incredibly resilient, If this game was in Utah, it would be much closer. They might even be able to win it, right? But I just think in terms of overall matchups, this run defense and this defensive line is no joke, and I think they're going to have a strong day against a young quarterback as well. So I think Texas Tech's going to get the job done. Very interesting game in the Big 12. This might potentially even be a rematch. If BYU loses this game and they win out, I think that's going to be the case, right? I think we're going to see them playing again in Arlington for a CFP spot. So a lot on the line here, BYU. If they're going to lose, you want to make it as close and scrappy as possible. And I think that this is going to be a good game for the most part, but I think Tech will pull away for a 14-point victory. It's me for today's episode. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. See you next time.